Sean, you want me to share screen?
Yeah. Tila's joining also. Okay.
Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm. Hi,
Yeah.
Saba.
Hi, Tila. How are you, sweetness?
Hey.
Everything good?
Hey, Tila.
Good. How are you?
Okay. So now, let me just get myself more comfortable.
It's the
I'd like to
Haftorah.
do, yes, the Haftarah. It's a very difficult Haftarah. In the one sense, it's very difficult and it's very easy. So, you
What
want to
is
read
the
it?
Haftorah, Saba?
Do you have access to it? It's Yechezkel Lamed Zayin.
Yechezkel. One second. Lamed.
This here, Saba?
I'm sorry, you got it?
Yeah, that's Lamed Zayin.
Oh, I see what it is. No, it's the one right after that.
30,
It should
38.
No, probably within. Let's see. Look at the end of that Lamed sign.
It starts from pasuk Tet Vav Saba, I think. That's what it
I'm
says
sorry?
in the Chumash. It
I'm
starts
sorry?
from pasuk Tet. It starts from pasuk
Okay,
Tet Vav.
that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, okay. What's with these things?
Here?
Where are you guys?
Can you see us, Saba? Is Saba here?
Saba was he just got kicked out.
I think
I let him
Saba.
back in.
Oh.
Saba is back in the meeting.
Hi, Saba.
Saba, we can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, now I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, good. Okay. Who wants to read it?
I could read it.
Okay.
Okay. Vayhi Devar Hashem Eli
No.
Lemor.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Vayhi Devar Hashem Eli Lemor. Ve'ata ben Adam kach lecha eitz echad uchtov alav liYehuda u'livnei Yisrael chavirav u'lekach eitz echad uchtov alav liYosef eitz Ephraim b'chol beit Yisrael chavirav.
Keep
Should I read
going,
more?
please.
V'karav utam echad el echad lecha le'etz echad v'ayu lachadim b'yidcha
Yeah,
u'kasher yom
Wait, hold on.
b'yidcha.
You want to explain what's going on?
Like he said, I don't know who he's talking to, but he says like a person should take these sticks and like treat like branches and like write the names of some of the shvatim on them.
Any ideas? Why would we have this haftarah this week?
Because you see Yehuda mul Yosef. You see them both in leadership.
So it's Yehuda and Yosef, of course. And there we don't know what exactly ultimately happens, but what's the history behind Yehuda and Yosef? It always breaks up. You remember that at the time of David HaMelech, he was king over the whole area of all Israel, Shlomo. But what happens after Shlomo?
It gets split.
It gets split. Who is in Yehuda? Rechavam. Who is what? From Yehuda. Who is in Shomron? Yerovam. From Ephraim. The Yehuda Yosef situation is always split. And what does Cheskel hope for? Want to read again, Ahuva?
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
ויצא בן אדם כך לעץ אחד, וכתוב עליו ליהודה ולבני ישראל חבריו.
One edge, take one stick and go to Yehuda.
לקח עץ אחד, וכתוב עליו ליוסף, עץ אפרים.
Take another one and put it in, another one and put it in Yosef. And what will happen?
וקרב אותם אחד אל אחד לך לעץ אחד, והיו לאחדים בידך. It's going to become like one.
What is the nevuah of Yechezkel?
That they'll unite.
They unite. Yehuda and Yosef someday will unite. Okay? What's the imagery? The imagery, take one tree that says Yehuda, take another tree says Yosef, and somehow or other put them together, and v'hayu la'achadim beyadecha. Keep going.
וכאשר יאמרו אליך בני עמך, עמך לאמור, הלא תגיד לנו מה אלה לך? דיבר עליהם.
So what's the question?
And when people ask, mazot.
What's the question?
Like, how can the two be combined together?
They all understood what the imagery was. How can it ever be that you have two trees become one tree? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let Daber Lehem, go ahead.
Daber Lehem, Ko Amar Adonai Hashem, Hine Ani Lokeach Elohim, Hine Ani Lokeach at Eitz Yosef Asher Biad Ephraim, ושבתי ישראל חבריו, ונתתי אותם עליו את עץ יהודה, ועשיתם לעץ אחד, והיו אחד בידי.
It's the most amazing story in almost Tanakh. What are the Jews telling him? The Jews said, how can such a thing be? How can you take, plainly, how can you take two trees and make them into one tree? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the interesting thing about that, between the Radak and his father, which is unusual, he says, V'adoni Mori, he says such a bad, I disagree with my father. All right. So interesting thing. His father, the Radak's father, says there'll be a nes. Because without divine intervention, these two can never be together. Because they're all different, they are different two kings. And only Hashem can intervene to make that. The Radak says no. The Radak says no. You can take two trees and you put them together with a rope, they become basically one tree. What do you think the machloket is?
Between Yosef and Yehuda?
No, between the Radak and his father.
If it's from God or if we could do it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And what else? What would it look like? According to the Radak, there'll be two trees that are one. So each person is his own person. In other words, they're connected with a rope, but each person is his own person. And the Radak says, no, when God intervenes, everybody will be together. It's an amazing, amazing thing. And then in the Ot Kdumim, everyone knows what the Ot Kdumim is?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody not know? Anyway, the man who put together Me'ot Kdumim, he had an own idea. He said, you'll take, let's say, an orange from Peru and an orange from Alaska, and put them together, graft them, and out comes a new orange that has different capabilities than everybody else. That's his way. The bottom line is, it's a very easy haftarah to understand why he uses that. It's a very difficult understanding. How can such a thing really happen? Everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. Their Radak was saying that it's like their supernatural force that they're going to be together.
His father.
Okay.
Adoni Mori. It's amazing. An amazing story. Now I want to ask you a question. This is one of those questions that everybody should ask. Remember who was the first king of the Jewish people?
Shaul.
Shaul. Where did he come from? Binyamin. Right? Now, how did Hashem ever appoint Shaul from Binyamin to be the king, realizing the ultimate Mashiach has come from Ben Yehuda, from Bnei Yehuda? What is the essence? It's an amazing question. So what I'll show you now is a very interesting thing. There is a way in which Shaul's children can ultimately remain as the Melech HaMashiach, meaning the ultimate king, because somehow or other the ultimate king has to come from Yehuda, and yet Shaul's children can become those people. And let's look, if you can, in Shmuel Bet, Perek Vav.
Perek what?
Perek Vav. And everybody has it, or somebody has it? Is it on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Now, Pasuk, start Pasuk Yudchet, please. Is
Should I
it
read?
on? Yeah. But before we read, let me just get the background. This is a time when they're going to bring the Aron HaKodesh that was initially captured by the by the Plishtim, and they bring it to Yerushalayim. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they bring this a real beautiful procession. Go ahead, read.
ויכל דוד מהעלות העולה והשלמים ויברך את העם בשם השם צבקות. ויחלק לכל העם, לכל המון ישראל, למאיש ועד אישה, לאיש חלת לחם אחת, ואשפר אחד, ואשישה אחת, וילך כל העם איש לביתו.
Okay, so this is a beautiful procession in which they bring the Aron HaKodesh up to Yerushalayim. And David HaMelech gave gifts to everybody. He was dancing in front of everybody. Now watch this.
Oh, wait, where are we? This is Perek Vav.
Well, Bet,
Perek
Perek Vav, Pasuk Chaf.
Vav.
Should I continue, Saba?
Please.
Okay. וישב דוד לברך את ביתו.
Not Vayeshev, Vayashav. Not Vayashav.
וישב דוד לברך את ביתו, ותצא מיכל בת שאול לקראת דוד, ותאמר, מה נכבד היום מלך ישראל אשר נגלה היום לעיני אמהות עבדיו, כהגלות נגלות אחד הריקים.
What's she gone? Michal is giving David HaMelech a hard time. Ho, 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 ho! Ma nichbad hayom Melech Yisrael. Ho, ho, ho! How honored you are. Asher nigla hayom le'nei kigalot echad harikim. You're dancing around like a clown. That's what says Michal. Remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. It's fascinating to see. Vayomer David.
ויאמר דוד אל מיכל, לפני השם אשר בחר בי מאביך ומכל ביתו לצוות אותי נגיד על עם השם על ישראל, ושיחקתי לפני השם.
Keep going.
ונקלותי עוד מזאת, והייתי שפל בעיני, ועם האימהות אשר אמרת עמם יכבדה.
So it's a very peculiar thing. So Michal again comes out and she says, you were very, very honored today. You danced around with the riffraff. And what does David answer her? Good. You know, Michal, that's why God chose me over your father. And that's why I danced in front of him. Is that a nice way to speak?
Not really.
Your wife? There's something very, very deep over here. And you know what the deep is? Read the last pasuk.
ולמיכל בת שאול לא היה לה ילד עד יום מותה.
What do you think this comes into things? She had no children. David HaMelech says we could have had Shaul HaMelech, his children could have become the king. How? From the Michal and David. When Hashem appointed Shaul, yes, it could be through the marriage that Shaul would be eventually Shaul's children would ultimately build the Melech HaMashiach, build the kingdom. David is not giving Michal a hard time. David is explaining to her where the problem was. What did Shaul do that was wrong? He listened to the people, remember?
Mm-hmm.
There are times when the king does not listen to the king, but he's got to do what? He's got to lead them. So he failed. You, Michal, are just the opposite. You're telling me the king should not lead, he should be away. No, there are times when you have to be together. And because the failure, there is no way that the king of David, the king of Shaul will ultimately, the children of Shaul will ultimately be kings. And the pasuk says, "Umichal lo haya la vlad ad yom mota." The sadness of this is that she didn't have a child from David, and if she didn't have a child from David, Shaul's legacy to become a king
It's cut off.
I'm sorry?
It's cut off.
It's cut off, yeah. Now, it's true, though, that Mordechai eventually does come, but the king himself never becomes for them. It's a magnificent thing. So what does it tell us? There is a possibility through a good marriage to have opposite people come together.
Mm-hmm.
What did we have in Haftorah? Let's read them one at a time. What's Haftorah? Read again the Haftorah.
I could read it. What pasuk do you want me to read?
Sure, go ahead, read it.
What pasuk? Just the beginning?
Please, yeah.
וידבר השם אלי לאמור, ואתה בן אדם, קח לך עץ אחד וכתוב עליו ליהודה ולבני יוסף, לישראל,
What? ליהודה
ולבני ישראל.
Yosef. Remember the way B'nai. Go ahead.
חבריו, ולקח עץ אחד וכתוב עליו ליוסף עץ אפרים, וכל בית ישראל.
What? Wait. Yosef, what?
Eitz Ephraim.
What does the Beit always mean? Beit Yisrael is always the women. Beit is always the women. B'nai is the men. Look what he's doing together. He says there is a way in which we can create a world where Yosef and Yehuda are together through the marriage, whether it's a physical marriage or other, but it doesn't much matter. Read again. There's a way in which we can create a world in which there'll be peace, and that's through the good marriage. And in fact, that is what he was hoping for. And do you know where finally that ends up to be, where such a thing actually works? I'll tell you an interesting thing. You'll like this very much. It works. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we just lost you.
Can you hear me okay?
Now we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. This is fascinating. Are you aware of the Nasi in Eretz Yisrael and the Greish Galuta in Bavel? Do you know the relationship there was? The Nasi comes from Beit David, from the mother side, and the Greish Galuta comes from Beit David from the father side. So there could be a system where you have a marriage in a certain respect in which you have real peace. And I think that what Yechezkel is telling them is, you don't have to ultimately fight. You can create a universe in which individuals are Etz Echad. And where is the first place you see such a concept of Etz Echad or Basar Echad? This whole thing, he says, B'nai Yehuda and Beit Yisrael and Beit Yosef is a means by which we can have what David HaMelech was hoping for through Michal and Michal failed, and Shaul failed, and he was sad. He didn't make it. He didn't say he cooked me over you. He said, "I'm sad it didn't work out like that." And Michal lo yavlad. That's the story, because sometimes actually yourself don't the opportunities that you could have taken. But Yechezkel says there will be an opportunity in which Beit Yosef and Beit Yehuda will come together and will create the Melech HaMashiach in a peaceful way.
Very nice.
Really nice. Wait, Saba, what's the example of the two people that come together from either side? From Yosef and
There's the Greish Galuta. He is the head of the people in Babel, and there was a Nasi, and each one was a descendant of David HaMelech. The Reish Galuta was from the father's side, the Nasi was from the mother's side. So you can see that there is royalty on both sides, as long as it comes from David.
from the father's side of
In other words, his father, the Reish Galuta's father, came directly from David HaMelech, and Nasi, and where the father and mother come in, that's not matter. But they were all together. They were descendants of David HaMelech, one through the mother and the other one through the father, and they had both realty. They were both royal. Nasi was a royal person. The Nasi, Rabbi Yehuda, was the most wealthy person in the world, and the Greish Galuta had power tremendous. They were basically kings, and they're both from David HaMelech, one from the mother's side, one from the father's side. And when you have that kind of there'll be Le'esachad, and there'll be Gula.
Very
Really
nice.
nice.
Abba, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody